This is the full option list, the latest one actually. As you can see, it's quite extensive. This is an Excel sheet, and if you want it, just contact Ariel and they'll send it out to you. But let's just go through these individually. So the first thing is the 350 brake horsepower option, and I've ticked the where there's a number against in this column here. That's the actual spec on this particular car. So the 350 brake horsepower upgrade includes the decap pipe, and of course it's a reflash. The ECU gets remapped to give you 350 horsepower from 320, and it's a massive difference in power. You also get the sports cat. This is actually taken off. As you can see, this is just a standard catalytic converter, and you get this, and you can put this on if you want. If you want to put it back on, you can do whatever you want with it, but this is definitely a recommended option. It just makes the car so much more aggressive, so much more powerful. The next one is the limited slip differential. Kind of goes without saying really, and to be honest, I think it should be, this option should be standard on this car. I mean, I can't imagine driving it without it. It's not particularly expensive either, so please do spec that. If you don't spec it, then I think it'll be harder to sell the car on later on. Now, there's a few options with it when it comes to exhaust pipes. So the first one is the sports exhaust silencer instead of the standard. Now, you can identify the sports exhaust by having it has a single exit in the middle here. This is the standard exhaust, which is quieter, and it has two exits on the back. And the sports exhaust is a bit too loud for track days. That's why a lot of people don't have them. People do spec them, but just know that if you get the sports exhaust, you won't be able to take it on most track days. So the other option is you go for the sports exhaust as well as the standard. So a lot of people do that as well, where you can run the sports exhaust, and then you just for just traveling around the road, and you just swap it out for the standard exhaust when you go on a track day. Next one is the polished exhaust. So you can opt for the polished sports exhaust silencer as well as the standard silencer as a spare. And the polishing looks amazing. It looks just like this. In fact, I polished this myself, but when you get it polished from the factory, they do also polish this part, this pipe, and the actual pipe inside, this bit down there that connects to the engine. That also is polished. I wanted the matte look behind. I wanted the box, just the box polished, which is why I did it myself. And the product I used actually was these two products here, which is this is a white diamond, an American product, the polisher, and then I used this one, the high shine, afterwards to give it that mirror finish. So if you don't do it yourself, you can ask Ariel to do it and they will do it. And then this one here, polishing of complete exhaust system, is just whichever exhaust you go for. That's just one exhaust. Now the lightweight flywheel, I don't have that on my car, and I want it. It will give you make the engine feel a lot more freer. So as you change gear, it just allows the engine to just to rev a bit more freely. Adjustable traction control, and including launch control, and the 3-stage variable boost controller. So there are two different options. Most people, when they spec one or the other, they tend to spec both of them at the same time. It's very rare you get people to spec the boost controller. I don't have either of those on my car, and just because I want the car to be as raw as possible. So if you did spec it, you see this little rubber bush here, grommet thing, that's where the variable boost control goes, which is a 3-stage boost controller, allows you to dial the power down or up. They just pull that out and you get like a little switch. And then the traction control goes in here, which is another dial, which is 0 to 10. They're costly options actually, and I just didn't see the need for it myself, but they're definitely on there if you need it. The sequential gearbox, 6-speed sequential gearbox, which is pneumatically activated, is definitely something I will have fitted probably next month, in August. And really that just does away with the manual gearbox, and you get the paddles behind the steering wheel here, made from lovely carbon fibre actually, and it just transforms the car, I think. Ariel do have a demo car that they're building at the moment. I don't believe it's ready just yet, but when it's ready I'm going to go down there and go out in it and to see what it's like. But I believe it's a quaif now. It's not a SADEV, it's much more affordable than the earlier cars. Baffled engine oil sump, well, you really need that, I think, even if you're not going to go on the track. Definitely have that added. It's relatively low cost and it gives you a peace of mind as well. The high performance radiator, now this isn't a cost option. I don't have that in my car. On this car the radiator obviously is in the front like all other Atoms, and the fan's behind it now instead of in front of it. I don't think we need that in the UK, to be honest. That's what I was told by the factory. You only really need it if you live in a hot country or you go to hot countries like Spain or somewhere like that. The high performance intercooler, I really don't know what that adds, to be honest. I haven't got that on my car, but the intercooler on this car is down the side here. So this is the intercooler here, and so I've had mine wrapped actually, because it's a bit of an eyesore, if I'm quite honest, and it's very shiny. So given the car's black, it kind of stands out really like a sore thumb. So I had that wrapped, and it's a bit of improvement, I think. Alternatively, you could have it powder coated, but I don't know how that will fare with the performance of it. I also had the fuel tank wrapped as well here, which is also made from aluminium and very shiny, and that really does look, it blends in with the car much better. So you can option that intercooler. The sport brake package, now I don't know anyone who's actually spec'd this, to be honest. The stock brakes, if you don't, these are cost options over in here. The stock brakes, I believe, come from a Fiesta ST, which are rubbish from what I hear. AP racing brakes, which is what I have on this car, includes the handbrake. There's a Brembo handbrake, you can see there, just behind the wheel there. That's the handbrake, and then you can see a lovely AP racing brakes. 290mm discs with 4-pot pistons. They take a lot of pressure to get working. They work much better obviously when they're up to temperature. When they're cold, they they don't bite all that well. The other option is the 2-piece brake discs. I don't have that on this car, of course. That's a track spec, so it's 2-piece and it has slightly more grooves in it to make it cool a lot better. The stainless steel fixings on brake and clutch lines, it goes without saying really. Definitely get this fitted, it's not very expensive. These are all the fittings along here, the stainless steel, and this pipe, this is an option as well. You can have this in black, which I don't like, so I went for the stock silver one, but I had the stainless steel fittings on that. So there's the option there, the black brake clutch lines and stainless steel fittings. The cockpit adjustable brake bias is this knob here. It just allows you to change the brake bias from front to rear or rear to front remotely. You can do it manually yourself, but it's obviously easier when you're in the car just to turn this around like that, you know. I haven't messed around with that yet because I haven't actually taken this car on track yet. It's only just run in. The shocks, I have a picture that I'll show about all the different shocks. But the first option, or the no cost option, is Bilstein non-adjustable shocks. So this car, I've got the Öhlins, which are the best ones, more track focused, to be honest. But the next cost option, the cheapest cost option, is the single adjustable Bilstein. So I think it's the compression you can adjust there, and then you have, actually I don't know what the difference between track bias and road bias. Maybe the springs are stiffer for the track, I don't know. The Bilstein MDS two-way adjustable dampers, a lot of people spec those, they're very good. I think they're more suited to the road than these ones. And you can adjust the compression and the rebound on those like that you can on these Öhlins. And then you get the finally the Öhlins three-way adjustable, and you got the remote reservoir in these are the Öhlins TTX 36 inline. They call them inline, I believe, not piggyback, so you don't have the separate reservoir, so it's all baked into the can here to make it look nicer, so you don't have this big tube sticking at the side. The aerofoil wishbones and push rods, I really don't know what the benefit of this is, other than the fact that they're just more aerodynamic. They fit here, I believe, top and bottom with these wishbones. They're very expensive actually, but they're almost like F1 style ones, where they're not so round. You can see these are rounded, kind of round in shape. The optional ones are kind of oval, so almost like a tear duct shape, and they look very cool. I don't know if they're going to add much performance, if I'm honest. The race grade rod ends, these guys here, you can get the race versions, which are supposed to last longer. I'll see what these go like. These are stock ones on my car. The race needle roller bell cranks, these are the bearings in here. I believe that you have a higher quality bearing. I believe there was a problem on the earlier Atoms, I could be wrong here, but which needed these to be changed out, but we'll see how I get on with these over time. This is my first Atom. Then there's various steering wheel spacer options, of course, so you can bring the steering wheel closer to the driver. The competition's quick steering rack. I did actually spec that, but then the factory told me that it's quite twitchy, it makes the car very twitchy. What they've done on the Atom 4 over the previous cars, they've done the steering down a bit, so it's a bit less twitchy, and actually it's perfect. I didn't go for this in the end, this competition rack, and it's just perfect on the road, and I can imagine it being brilliant on the track. The quick release steering wheel I did go for. You can see there, this is a standard quick release Boss there. You just pull this, like that, it comes off just like that. And it's quite easy to change steering wheels if you want, just by unbolting these screws. Let's put that there. So the next thing is track day race section. The side panels, you can go for these Perspex Lexan type panels that actually fit to these tabs here, and it's one big piece of Lexan that goes right across the chassis here to stop wind turbulence, and I think it will probably add a bit of aerodynamics as well, actually, to the car. I didn't go for that on here, but I may do in the future. I will see what it's like on track. It'll probably make it handle it better. Maybe get a bit more speed, straight line speed, I don't know. It would definitely help with stone chips flying up, actually, when you turn the wheel, because what can happen is stones just get thrown into this chassis here. So this car's been completely PPF'd. Actually, all this is all PPF'd. I can feel it here. So all this front, all this here, this one, and this one. That was at the advice of Steve Rook at the factory, saying that when you're on track and you turn the wheel, all the stones get thrown into the chassis. So that's that battery master cutoff switch. Now this is an interesting one. I don't have that on this car, and I didn't think I needed it when I spec'd it. But when I got the car, I soon realised actually I should have spec'd it. Because what happens is I don't have the immobiliser on me now. And if I parked up somewhere outside of a supermarket or something like that, and I'm not around, anyone can just turn the ignition on like this. And notice the daytime running lights come on. So it's now starting to drain my battery, and I have no control over someone doing this. And then they can go through the menu, GPS indoors, that's not bad, and they can change these settings. They can also look at different days, like test days, or even out on the road, like how fast you've gone and stuff like that. So better turn it off. So if you had a master cutoff switch, which is normally positioned here, it's an FIA registered one, you can just turn that little key, take the key with you, and it disconnects the battery, so no one can actually turn it on, turn the ignition on. I may get that fitted at some stage. You can also have it positioned, actually. I've seen some people have it here, which is a much better place, so you can reach it better, and also makes the car look a bit cleaner. The bolt-in rollover roll bar or roll hoop gets bolted to these three bolts here. It's pretty ugly, if I'm honest. It kind of sits about here. I'll show a picture of that, but it's not particularly nice, but it's all about safety, of course. The welded in roll cage is a lot nicer looking. Fire extinguisher standalone road track day use. I have that on here, and there it is. It's a simple fire extinguisher. If you go for the race version, which is another option, there'll be a handle here which connects to this lever, and you just pull it. So Marshall can just pull it instead of leaning into the car and taking the pin out and stuff. You just pull it, and it will fill the whole car of the fire extinguisher if in the event of a fire. It's more for racing. Track day lap timing. I've got the lap timing here, the GPS module, which gives me lap timing. I could do a massive video on this. There's the technology in this dash, the MXSL, I believe it is. I can't remember. I think it's that model. Gives you a lot of sophistication in terms of lap timing. If you do get that fitted, I card it myself, and then Ariel fitted it at its service. You need the GPS module, this one. But you also need this data hub, which is the CAN connection multiplier, because in order to connect this to the dash, you need to connect it to the EXT minus and EXT plus pins on the back of the dash, and Ariel ran a cable out of that wiring loom, and that goes into that multiplexer, and then this plugs into it. So you can also, if you want the next option on the list, is this one, which is the track day lap timing with brake pressure overlay on video. That's the AIM Smarty Cam that you see in radicals. Actually use it a lot, and it will be mounted sort of here behind the driver's head usually, and it would plug into that same multiplexer. So I can just buy that now and add it quite easily if I want. The FIA Spec carbon fibre seat goes without saying, really. It's a carbon fibre seat. There are seats on the spec sheet later on actually as well. I'm not sure why. I guess this is a FIA approved one. Towing eye kit front and rear. Or this one's rear actually, but there's a front one as well. I have both fitted on mine. The rear one is positioned here. The race one is the strap, a red strap. So instead of a hook, it's a red strap. And then the front one's positioned there, which is quite useful for pulling your car into a trailer if you've got a winch. Yeah. So it's a towing eye kit, race, 2 straps. Now the harnesses, the standard harness, which is the non-cost option, just no cost option, is not like these. They're actually obviously 2-inch wide. This is a 3-inch webbing. This is the optional one. So this shoulder strap is 3 inches. The lap belt is always 2 inches. You wouldn't want that to be 3 inches. But on the non-cost option, you don't get this quick release harness like this, and you won't be able to fit the V crutch strap either. You get the red buckle that you get on road cars, and I don't like those because the shoulder is actually sewn directly into the lap belt, so you can't move them around, and they're just not very suitable for kids. And I have children that run in my car all the time. The next option is the alloy 2-inch harness with the alloy chest adjuster. So this is the chest adjuster here. On mine there's steel. You can get the alloy ones that look black. They look a bit nicer, but I wanted the kind of race car look, so which is why I went for those. And then you get the pads, of course, the Willens pads there, which are pretty nice. Underneath it's an Ariel logo. Then you get the 3-inch seatbelt harness with alloy chest adjusters. I went for just a 3-inch non-alloy adjusters, like I said, with the pads. You have to add the pad, but remember to add on both sides. It's ×2. And because I have children, these are much better because they come in across the. If you've got someone with narrow shoulders, it comes into their crutch. Also, you can fit this crutch strap. You can't do that on the non-cost option, the 2-inch seat belt. So bear that in mind. I fitted these feet crutch myself actually, and on Atom 4 there's a separate eye bolt there, hole that you can screw into it. So there's already a nut sort of welded into the chassis that you just screw it into. I think it's 7/16. It's an imperial bolt, not a metric. There's two types. There's the imperial and there's a metric. There's imperial and a metric one. It's the imperial one, whatever size that is. I think it's 7/16. The wheels, there's quite a lot of wheels. I have a picture for all the wheels actually. This car has the standard alloy wheel. Looks like this. So there's this wheel, there's the forged alloy wheel, and then there's the carbon fibre. Black paint on it. The stock wheel, if you don't pay for the cost option colour, is a silver. So it's a gloss powder coat. There's loads of options here. So I went for the track day tyre package. That includes these tyres, which are the ZZR, the Avon ZZR. If you go for the non-cost tyre option, you get the ZZS tyre. So I include a picture of all the alloy wheels and what they look like, what the forged wheels look like in this video. The next list item is stainless steel fixings. Just definitely go for that without a doubt. The stainless steel fixings looks like this. So all these bolts, this one, pretty much everywhere here. So definitely get the stainless steel fixings. So stainless steel fixings are all the bolts on the car. So this one, just every bolt you can see, all the bolts and the wishbones, just everything. If you don't go for stainless steel fixings, then they will rust, like those nuts, those bolts, and it looks terrible after a while. You can also go for the titanium cosmetic bolt kit, and what that looks like is they look like dome shaped. So all these bolts will be like a dome shaped titanium, and on the steering wheel actually the screws look like a black. Those screws there are like a black dome shaped screw. It just looks a lot nicer. Also on the tub here, these bolts here are black, so you can't see them. It just looks a lot nicer, but they're expensive. The machined aluminium wing mirror set are these here. These are on this car, and they're just lovely. They are. They're like a you've got like a tint blue to them. There's the blind view section to it as well, and you've got the Ariel logo. The stock ones are hideous. They're massive, and they're very plasticky. They've got a massive arm here, and you can see how big this is. It's a very small mirror. There's my hand there. And they're much bigger than these. They look hideous, I think. The Aero screen is this guy. It's pretty obvious. I think people know what that is. I've had this PPF actually, which has improved it massively because it's a Lexan, Perspex Lexan plastic, and scratches very easily when you try and clean it, when the flies and stuff is on it. So my detailer actually PPF both sides, so now it's easy to clean. Full windscreen, hideous. Heated windscreen, yeah. Spare standard screen and bonnet for the above, self-explanatory. The high-level brake light option, it sits in here, so it gets bolted to these. I think it's bolted to these bolts here, maybe, I'm not sure, but it sits along here. It's a big long rectangle, and so it goes along this bit here. I just didn't see the need for them. It's because the car's so low. It's got really good LED rear lights anyway. I didn't go for that. Carbon fibre seats, they're Tillot's. So it goes without saying, really. They're lovely seats. I've seen them. They're beautiful. A little bit more. They're a little bit tighter. I think they're a bit tighter. They fit better. They also have a runner on them, whereas these ones, the only way to adjust them is to take these 8mm bolts out. There's 2 of them in there, and slide the seat forward or back. And you can lower it, so it will actually go back. Like on my driver's seat, I'm on the lowest hole, so it sits reclined furthest back. Lock-in fuel cap. The fuel on this fuel tank on this car is on the left side. On the earlier cars it's on the right, but yeah, nothing special there, but just so you can lock it, give you a peace of mind. It's cheap enough, so adapts to it, I would say. A 12-volt auxiliary feed and cigarette lighter. I didn't go for that, but I went for the USB socket, which is this one here. So there's 2, I think there's 3 amps charge on it. So, and you've got this cover here, so it's waterproof when that cover's on. Then you get the BMW motorcycle power unit as well, power socket, Bluetooth intercom system. I think that's the cardio system. I'm not entirely sure. So you can spec that with your Ariel or just get it yourself. It's up to you. The TomTom Rider 550, they mount that in a nice spot actually. It goes in here, along this bar here. I don't have it on mine because I'm actually having a tablet device here that will act as a reversing camera, or permanently on rear camera, sat nav, and a whole bunch of other things, so I don't actually need it. Tracker, yeah, it's self-explanatory. Reversing camera, goes, this is an AIMS unit. It actually goes, if you have it fitted, it's here, but as I said, I don't need it. Tiny little camera, you can barely see it, so it's a really nice installation. And then when you select reverse gear, the camera will appear on here, the view will appear on the dash. So passenger and clutch footrest. This is this thing here, so you get this metal bar here for the passenger to rest their foot on, and their right foot on that one, and then that extends to a clutch footrest for the driver, just in there, which is very comfortable to have that. Indoor fleece cover, outdoor cover, ambidextrous chassis. But basically what that means is for if you want to switch from left to right hand drive, so you can do that. What Ariel will do, if you option that option, they weld a V-type steering column bracket, just like on the driver's side. I doubt you can see it, but underneath that dash there's like a V V shape and it gets welded in here. If you spec that optional extra, you'll get one this side as well, or that side, depending where the driver's steering rack is being deployed. And moving it over then is quite easy. If I were to try and turn this into a left-hand drive car, I'd have to have that bracket welded, and then the chassis would need to be re-powder coated. So it's a good, if you're thinking about moving abroad or something like that, it's good to swap from that. Towing eye kit front, road use, I've showed you that already. We're nearly there. The battery optimizer trickle charger, definitely worth speccing this. That's this charger here. It's a C-Tech, quite popular. It has a has this connector on the end, which is common for C-Tech chargers. And the one that they ship, that they sell, is this one here. You can also, it's an MXS 5.0. You can also connect it directly to your battery if you want. But Ariel's done something quite cunning, which is quite brilliant actually. Simple but elegant. And under here, if you can see, there's like a little cable here. If you can see that, you just undo that cap, and you can plug the charger directly into there without having to take the bonnet off, because the battery in this car is right under this bonnet. And to get the bonnet off, you've got to undo these clips, which is a pain, because then you have to put the bonnet somewhere that won't get damaged. And this is carbon fibre, so it will just float away. Painted bodywork. You can have all this composite painted. So this part here. The Americans have this, in the US have this painted a lot. The tub, this back part here, the T-tray. You can have all that painted if you want. The next on the list is the carbon fibre front mounts. The front ones are really lovely. I'll add a picture to the to this video, but they kind of sweep around. They come to about here or so, and the rear one is a bit controversial. Some people like it, other people don't. It's a bit of a Marmite thing, I think. I'll add a picture. I can't really explain what it looks like. The carbon fibre mudguard set they're lovely. They're really nice. I actually had these machine polished because they were horrendously scratched, quite badly actually. So they were polished up, and then I had PPF applied for the whole mudguard on the front, and then on the rear, just the front, just this bit, just the front bit. If you don't have this bit done, this back bit, then it's possible that you'll get stone chips from the rear tyres, especially on track when you're driving at speed. The carbon fibre body set, which includes the bonnet and the airbox, I've got both of those. So this carbon fibre is just lovely, really, really high quality carbon fibre. The carbon fibre instrument panel is this thing here. I've got that too, which is, because you're looking at it all the time, it just looks lovely. Doesn't add any performance, of course, it just looks nice. The carbon fibre lamp covers, I've got those as well. They're these ones, because the stock ones look horrendously plastic, look really cheap. And then you get the rear ones as well, carbon fibre, when you option, if you can see that in the light here. The rear fog reverse number plate tidy, I will put a picture of what that looks like on this video. And the carbon fibre one, on my car I've got the stock one, which is this one, and you have the light here. On the optional extra ones you have the light here, so you don't have this big block here. It just looks a bit, that's why they call it a tidy, it just looks a bit tidier. Most people spec that, I just forgot to, that's why I don't have it. Black colour wheels, I've said that already. You have an option of gun, these are the standard colour, what they call standard colours, so gunmetal, titanium colour wheels, alternative colour wheels. So if you want something other than those colours, you'll pay extra for them. The gloss black black chassis. You can have the chassis painted in any colour you want. The stock chassis is a satin black. So just bear in mind, satin black you can't polish. So when I got this car, the detailer machine polished the whole chassis, including the wheel arches, the gel coat, and just here especially was really scratched, really badly scratched. So he polished the whole thing and then applied PPF, and now it looks lovely. I mean, sort of fingerprints all over it, but it looks really good now. Yeah, so next is the front number plate bracket. Looks hideous. I think it kind of sits here. I think it's bolted maybe to here, to this wishbone, and the number plate sits here in this area, which looks, yeah, doesn't look nice. I'll include a picture to that as well. And then you've got IV testing, road tax and reg, and that's it. Hopefully that was useful. Cheers.